Okay, thanks. So I think recording has started.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let me share my screen first. Yeah, that entire screen. Okay. Okay, I think my screen visible to you all. So let's just start from this first presentation. Okay, so this training about that SQL Server L1 and L2 level training. Okay, it will take 24 to 27 hours to complete this training. Okay, and is the content. So we are starting from the implementation of database SQL Server, installation, testing, connectivity, enable and disable features that is required features we can enable. Okay, services and protocols, and then we go with the practical session. Means that installation of SQL Server with best practices. And second day, managing and configuring databases, a standby server reporting purpose. Okay, not we are going to implement HADR in the second day. Okay, we'll cover in that other HADR part 6 or 7 days, I think. Yeah, and then we will discuss about the SQL Server agent operators and how can we send alert and mail from the SQL Server agent. Database maintenance, we can cover that backup database maintenance like backup, and we can set tuning part that is indexing statics, or we clean up task. And next is monitoring part. So we will go through the all the basic monitoring and advanced level monitoring. How can we reach out the root cause and finding errors, and we can see the logs in the SQL Server. Next is DR part is log shipping and replication. HADR, we can cover monitoring and always on. Clustering is high abilities that is depend on the disk, storage disk, that is shared storage we can use in that. And then performance tuning and optimization using the default tools of SQL servers. And the last one is ETL, some basic import, export, and SSIS configuration with standalone servers. So I think hope you all are aware about this content. Anything missing we are, you can let me know, or we can keep posted in the chat. Okay. So going to the first day of installation SQL Server. So here is the instance. And for this SQL Server installation, we required basic prerequisite like a .NET 3.5 minimum required, 2 GB of memory, and minimum 50 GB of storage. Okay, so we can start a store installation on this server. So here is the configuration of this share system. Basically, 8 GB of memory. Okay, and I think about the storage about 300. I think so. Okay, so let's start from that exe part. We can just need to mount this. Okay, because it's ISO pack. Mhm. Sorry.
So, Salish, for
Uh-huh.
this, I believe we got one email about the lab.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that is not working. That credentials are not working.
Now I think that is changed. Basically, we will share that we have a two more instances for you both. Okay, so I can share the details to you. I think, and yeah, I have already. So after this installation, when we go for the practical session, I will provide the credential for you both. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to
And
start
from
from.
from where
Mhm.
you got this ISO image directly on the system?
Basically, if we go with the, let me start from here. Okay. We can just write whatever we want to download na, from the Google. Okay. And we get that, see here the link, or we can go from there. Both is the same. Okay.
Is it your Taking Express or which version of this?
Uh, I think this is from Google, which that is
No, no,
Microsoft. We are downloading from.
are we
Mhm.
using the SQL Express or which version we are using?
No,
Express.
I will show you that basically in after 2017, we have a one bundle in Express developer and evaluation version. So we have to select that time what we are going to install: evaluation version, developer edition, or Express edition. I will show you that. Okay, basically this is for Express only, but yeah, this is the way how can we download. Okay, so this is for only 6 MB. So we get that one file. I can show you here on the server. Uh, 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 So this is a 6 MB of file. See, whatever you are seeing here. See. So after downloading this, we have to extract this exe. Then it will automatically download the Express edition file. Okay. So we can get like this is a developer edition and this is evaluation version. Okay, like this we can get here. So I think here is we have a developer edition. Okay, and we can if you want we can go with the evaluation version too. So developer edition we cannot this is not expired. Evaluation version expired after 60 days. Sorry, 180 days. I mean 6 months. So that is a difference.
Okay.
So we are
Evaluation edition is the complete enterprise edition, right?
yeah we can get all the features whatever Microsoft providing in the enterprise edition. So
Okay,
we can
fine.
see all the features that is provided Microsoft. Okay, for development we can use all the features, but only for development we cannot go that database in production. We cannot keep the database as a production database. So we can use for development lifelong, not an issue. But evaluation version has expiry date 180 days. After the automatic system is locked down, we are not able to log in the system if we are not upgraded or we are not activated as a standard or any other upper level of that SQL server.
All right.
Yeah. So we are going with I think developer edition here. So first we have to right click and mount this. The basic thing we have to just mount that one, and we get here. So like this is a setup file, and this is extracted here. So these are the components in that ISO file. Okay. So basically we go with the setup file. Just click on the setup, and here is too many things like we have to just focus on that because this window will provide too many things like repairing of databases, or we have to just configure high abilities or some other tools. So we have to just this window we can get that. So planning means what hardware required, security documents, online release, whatever about this release Microsoft provided, database that is migration assistance we can download from here, or that is migration assistance here. Okay, both two is different thing basically. SQL Server Migration Assistance or that is DMI. This is DMI is other assistant tool, but this is for another database analyzer and all. Okay, for upgrade and this type of activities we can perform from this tool. Okay. Now the installation part, there's two things. For a standalone, we can go with the new server standalone server installation, and if we are going for HADR failover cluster, we need to use this one, new failover cluster and node adding. Means the clustering, when we are going to do a clustering of SQL Server, we need to install from here, these two component only, not the first one. Okay. And after 16, Microsoft deprecated all the, this is not in a bundle of SQL Server reporting services, Management Studio, and Data Tool. These are three component that is default bundle in SQL Server that now it is in separate setup file. So we have to download separately and then you have to install reporting services, Management Studio, and then Data Tool, SSDT. Okay. So now, today we are going to install this first, we can say that a standalone server. So now we have to click here. See here, we can see evaluation version, developer and Express edition. So whatever we are going to install here, no, we have to just select here. So evaluation version, see here, it is 180 days expiration. In developer, nothing basically. Okay. So we are going to see here developer edition. Okay. Or we evaluation version, what you want basically.
Yeah, let's make it evaluation edition here.
Okay. So we can see the upgrade part also. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's right. Good. So we can upgrade after that couple of days. We can upgrade this one. So we can see that one. Okay. Evaluation version. If we have a key, we can pass the key here. Hit next. By default, we have to accept this Microsoft software licensing terms.
Key is required
Because
for which particular version,
every
or is it
version,
every
every
version?
by default, we have to accept that. Without accepting, we cannot go further. Okay, the
Or a
next
key
step.
is
By
required
default,
for evaluation version, wherein we need to evaluate and stop the restriction of 180 days.
yes, 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 yes. So evaluation version means that we are just checking the software. This is a free version. Okay, you're just checking all the features that is working in your environment. Then you can purchase a link, sorry, key, and then you can upgrade that to the standard enterprise edition, whatever the your requirement basically. So most of data center we use for new production, that is use evaluation version for 1 month, and after that they are going to upgrade that with the license key. So by default, we accepted this license, sorry, agreement, and now it is asking for update. So we are not going for update, and because the system is newly created, so we are not going to check update and all. Okay, it will check
But
some. Mhm.
in real environment, is it recommended to ignore update, or is it recommended to
Yeah,
update
yeah.
the?
The best, no, no, no. Basically, in SQL Server, if you have not changed anything in the Windows side, na means you have not uninstalled any patches. Okay, so no need
Okay,
to install the patches, because Microsoft recommend every month of the first week it will pushing the updates by default. If you are not updating, it's okay. Microsoft already installed that on, and it will ask for restart only in the backend. This
okay.
is the background process basically. Okay. So now this is the main part here to focus this. What are the features we required for our environment? Okay. So we have C here. Basically, database engine required and replication is required, because we have to just replicate data and all. This is default basically. This is database engine. We have to click this one. Okay. This is for machine learning. We are not going for machine learning, Python and Java. Okay. And this is for full text search, semantic search. Okay. This is for basically we can say that the other features in SQL Server. Data quality we are not using, because this is a part of integration services. We can say that SSAS. Okay. Polybase we are not going. Analysis service we are not going to test here. Okay, machine learning not. See here, we are not getting a reporting services. See, because it is a different setup for that reporting services. Okay, integration services we required basically for DTS packages. Client connectivity tool yeah, required, and other computer level SDK required. No distribution relay. Okay, must not required. Okay, so these are
Can
the
you
four.
can you just
Mhm.
elaborate just for 5 minutes about this these services? One was SSS, and one was
Yeah, yeah.
reporting. How is it
Yeah, yeah.
used?
We have a PPT. I can explain you all the
Okay,
details
fine.
after
Fine.
installation. Okay, I've already
Okay.
kept here. See, because this is a part of training, no? So I have already kept here all the details for the services. Sorry,
So these
see,
are these are the paid option, like based on the features we select, it will be a license implication on these options.
yeah. In one license, we can use reporting services on one server anywhere. Okay, on the same server or anywhere. Okay.
So what are the by default which will come with the standard edition in this,
By
or is it?
default, yeah. By
uh,
default, you can get that database engine repeat. You can get all these things, but you cannot enable because of that restriction. Basically, you can use that these all these things in a standard edition, but the security part, that is database encryption, high availability, that is basic algorithm you can get in a standard edition. You can get
Uh,
2 or 3 replica in a standard edition. So there's many differences in the enterprise and a standard edition basically.
no, the question what Gopal is asking is if you go in on that PPT reporting
Mhm.
server and yeah,
Mhm.
so do we need a separate license for integration server or reporting server and an analysis server,
No,
or it is a part of enterprise edition?
is a part of a standard enterprise. If you get a one license, na, you
Mhm.
can use one reporting services, one integration services, or analysis services max
Okay.
with nothing. Yeah,
All
this is
right.
based on your core. You are going for the core base. You can it depend on the core. Okay, if it is the more core on the server, it is not allow you to install. that will get an error.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So these are the features for enterprise or basically for that requirement of that your application and all. Okay, so that's why there's a features provided. All features you get from the Microsoft that is provided on the enterprise edition, but we will check only that is required for a standalone server. Okay. Now the part of installation where we have to keep the data files and all.
One
Okay.
second, Silas, just to clarify, on the feature screen, right now we are doing evaluation. Let's say
Yes.
I'm doing a standard edition installation. I'll get the same screen there also,
Yes,
same
yes, you can
options,
get,
say,
yeah, you can get same all these things in every edition, but there is
okay.
a restriction in high abilities, database encryption, okay, security point of view. So in enterprise, you can get database compression, DTE, always on a multi replica, but in a standard, you have limitations of that one replica, readable replica you can create.
So
That is basic one.
I'm basically interested to know what are the features or options which
Mm-hmm.
doesn't come under along with the SQL Server standardization, which I should be completely aware whether should I check that box? Do we have the license for that or not? What are that options? If you have some in the slide, just please let us know so that if I'm doing a
Yeah,
standard
yeah.
edition by default installation, I need to know, okay, these options I should not select or I can select if I have a license. Otherwise, I should not. That is what I'm trying to ask for the standard edition country.
Okay, so for that we have a cheat sheet for SQL Server. Okay, I will share that one because there are too many features, more than 256 features. Okay, so that is in your pride, it is not in extended edition, so I can show you. Okay, or I will share
Mm-hmm.
in that other slides. Okay. Okay, so this is basically see this is the machine learning about this. Okay, so machine learning
Mm-hmm.
you can enable that. Now it will work on a standardization, but there's a limitations on the high abilities part. I'm just saying that is you just focus on high abilities and security part. Okay, if we are
Mm-hmm.
using any security things like database encryption, so that
Mm-hmm.
will not support in a standard basically. That
Mm-hmm.
features come in a enterprise only by
Entities.
default.
Okay.
Okay, next is high abilities. So in high abilities we have a we cannot make a multiple replica in a standard edition. We can use only basic always an ability group. Means we can just create one replica in standard edition. But in SQL Server Enterprise edition, you can make multiple replica. So this is a feature of dependencies because you can expand your abilities. There is a difference only. In enterprise, sorry, in evolution you can create for testing purpose. In developer you can create for development purpose, but you cannot use as a production, but you can get all the features. They're a simple thing. You can get all the features, but you cannot implement as a production, use as a production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have not selected this client tools connectivity. That is not required.
No, no, ability taken here. The shared services with see the shared features and the default feature. See here. The instance features means what instance we are going to implement. SSIS is a analysis service. There's OLAP,
Mm-hmm.
online tension analysis processing. Okay. So this is OLAP. There's cubes. We can create cubes and all. BI part. Okay. So for BI, we have to enable this one if you're going for SAS. For full text search, we have to enable here. So then we can use the full text from application side or from any other tools for full text. This is a quality services. That is for all data quality checking. That is for data analysis only, not a OLTP. So there's two things, OLAP and OLTP. You know that I think. Online
Yeah.
transfer processing that is for OLAP. Also OLTP and analysis services is OLAP. There are two things only. Okay. So that's why we have to just select we are going for OLTP or OLAP. So OLTP you can select the database engine by default. Replication you're using for replicating data. Simple from one server to different other servers. And the shared services we have to focus on shared services. What we require data. Sorry, not quality. Data client tool. Sorry, this is my mistake. So client tool connectivity will required. Tool background completely required because we are using a lower version, so that will connect with that this server ssms via ssms we can connect and we can use that yeah, we can say that linked server and we can fire command from this server to another server for reporting purpose from that is data integration, we can use that one. So these are two shared features we can use that one. Rest is
Acha,
not required.
where is the option? Let's say we don't have a enterprise edition, है ना? We
Mhm,
want to install a standard edition. So where to
mhm.
select that or specify whether it is standard?
So basically for standard edition, we will not get, sorry, just let me minimize that. We will not get like this. We will get that this is a evaluation. See the env dev. Okay, so this is a developer
Okay.
edition. We get std, a standard edition, or eng enterprise. So ent enterprise edition in the last.
Okay, we will get different binaries for standard and
Yes, binary and naming convention is different one. See, the name
how
is,
can we find
see,
out?
the last three digits. This is dev,
Okay.
dev here. If this is a
So,
standard std here, or for
mhm,
enterprise ent.
okay. So we need to download appropriate binaries.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
So this
fine.
is a development, and you can see here for evaluation. You can see that is written as env. I think so. Sorry, sorry. See, env evaluation version. The last three digit. Okay, so that's different. Okay, so next is where is server? Minimize that one. Now clear now. Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah.
yeah. So we are discussing about this root directory path. Okay, so where to keep that SQL Server binaries? So by default or according to best practices, we are not keeping anything in C drive. Okay, we have to just change that on that binaries. But some shared feature, some shared file goes to C drive program files. Okay, so I think this server is only C drive. So we are not going to modify this one. Uh, Yeah, only C drive. Okay. Next. Okay, so here this window we just see default instance or named instance. Default means on a same server we can create only one default instance named as MS SQL server. Okay, this ID is unique ID for every instances on this server basically. Okay, if you want to install named instance, we can customize this or we can pass here name as for our desire. Okay, whatever we can say that demo or something like that, test environment, QA environment. Okay, so we can create as a named instance. So for a standard edition, we have a 49 named instance you can create on a same server. Okay, max. Or enterprise edition as for our resources. Okay, whatever our we have resources means database, memory and storage. So we can create multiple named instance on same server, but the
Let's say,
default instance.
yeah,
Mhm,
let's say we have created a default instance and DB is running on there. Now we have to
mhm,
create one more instance.
mhm.
है ना? So can we create
Yes,
another named instance? So
yes, yes,
we can have a default instance and a name instance.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I can show you all these things because this is benefited because when name default is corrupted, na, how can we proceed for that basically? How can we install on the same server? So in sorry, in SharePoint, basically the data architecture not use default instance. They go for the named instance in any SharePoint application database configuration. Okay, but in .NET we are using default, and I think yeah, Microsoft each and every product. Okay, except that SharePoint.
Yeah. Actually, my question is that let's say there is a SQL server running with a default instance, है ना?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
we see that there are lots of resources still there, है ना,
mhm,
to accommodate a new instance. So
okay.
if there is a requirement to install new named instance, so can
Mhm.
it be installed on a server where default instance is there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine.
If you by default go for the named instance, na, default instance is not installed. Let's see, you have go for the first named instance. You have
No,
done
two
demo.
named instances are fine. That's okay.
Multiple, but
Multiple names,
depend on the.
but if one default instance is there,
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, one named instance is also fine, right?
Yes, yes, fine. You can create
Okay.
that. Matlab, I mean to say that you can create multiple named instance as per your license. In a standard edition, maximum 49 named instance means one default instance, or 49 named instance means 50 instances you can create with that your standard edition license. Okay, simple on the same server if you are using that core based license or something like that. Okay. Or we can say that in enterprise we can create multiple as per your resources. There's no limitations of instance creation.
Yeah.
So by default we are going for this default instance, so the id is sql server, simple. Okay, and we cannot customize this one, we can just write something but it will go with that this name only. We can so see in services basically. So here is that server configuration means the services account. This is very we can say that useful or interesting part with the services. In any database server services, we can start different account with the different, not a default account. Okay, because we have to just provide the account permission and all. So the best practice is that we have to just create a separate service account for SQL server, and then we can pass the name here and the password, and as per requirement we can startup type select means when the system is a start, which services required first. So basically we know that database engine required first as a start automatically. Agent we can use as per our requirement. If we have any scheduled jobs and anything we have done, then we automatically keep automatically, else it is manual. Integration services we have not implement that we can keep disable, or we can set it manual. Okay, browser services for named instances we can uh, by default disable, but we can require if you are using named instance we have to just enable this one and keep automatically. Okay, for the named instance. So right now we are not using these things, but only go with the database engine, and it's automatically, and we have no service account, so it is going for by default. Here is the main part. This is a new thing that is integrated here. This is a part of Windows hardening. We can say that, or Windows Server fine tuning. Grant value maintenance task basically. This is in our group policy basically. Let's show you. We can discuss about this only also. Hmm, no, not here. In the search. I can, so this is a part of maintenance or performance tuning. You can say that. No, no, no. We can say that group policy, GP edit. Not installed, I think. GP edit. GP edit.msc. Yeah. So previously, before that, 16. Okay, we go to the group policy basically, and go to that Windows setting. Then we go to the security setting. Then we have a local policies. Then we have a user rights. And here we can see that same thing, volume maintenance. Where is that? Disk maintenance or volume maintenance? I think. So previously we are getting here. Okay. So we have to just pass here that the service account name to run that. For that, when we restore the database, now that will go initialize from the side of 0, means overwriting all these things. So SQL Server integrated this one here. Okay, just we have to check box enable here. Okay, if you are not going to this, we can get the error. See, oh, why? Basically, this is compulsory. Basically, okay. So this is for the zeroing the data pages. Okay, see here. avoiding during the pages initializing side is INF, that is known as instance file initialization by avoiding zeroing size. This is enabled for volume maintenance basically. This is required basically. Okay. So previously we go with that group policy via this window, but now it is we can get here only. Okay. This is in 17 or 19 or 22. Yeah, added here. Or I missed that on collation. So collation is that you know that this is depend on how we are data keeping. That is the format of data, upper cases, lower cases, mixed cases, or that is different languages. The Japanese or or we can say Chinese. So just we have to select that. But by default is CP1 CIS default. Okay, this is that collation of databases. How we are keeping the data in the database inside the databases.
So is that the recommended and the standard collision?
Yeah, yeah. This is a standard for all over world. If there's different countries, they are changing according to their language. Okay, you can customize that one. So by default, this is server level. We can now change the database level too. If there's a different application running, so we can change on the database level, but not on the server level. If we go for the server level, all databases crash basically, or change the data entire data. So we cannot change on the server level. This is the first one.
So,
Here we can change. Else we have to just change on database level.
so if we
This is
cannot
by
change on
default
the
for
instance, we have to
no.
recreate in instance.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we have to recreate. So before installing now, we just discuss with the application team which collection you require basically. If this is a different type of language there.
The application team might be just they just on the DB level. So when we do a standard instance level, we keep this, and then DB level we can have any other collection also.
Yes, yes, we can change now. Previously, it was a very hectic task for DBA basically because we have to just calculate all the data types and all. Where did they have going to change all these things? So we take a backup and then we can change that one. If there is not going any bad thing, then we can keep that one only.
So instance
So this
and
is the
DB both can have different collection, and it will work, right? It will support.
yes, yes, yes,
Or is there
yes,
any or is there any condition? Okay, if it is instance Latin one, then you can use only this only the collection at the DB
no,
level.
no, no, no,
There
no.
is nothing.
This is
Okay.
this is for all databases basically. Okay, if you are going to create any user databases, so you have to just change that collection level from their properties. I can show you where we can change that one. Okay, you have all the features with inside the databases now. So keeping default here. Okay, and next. Now here is the best thing. Security part basically server level configuration, the authentication mode. So SQL Server provide us two authentication mode. Windows authentication mode means the window account can log in or domain account can log in on the SQL Server. Okay, but not a SQL account allowed to log in. So mix mode here, you can use SQL account as well as Windows account. Means if you created any logins on a SQL Server, that guy also log into the SQL Server, and the window account also we have mapped that, then we can log in the SQL Server basically. So from the DB side, the best practice is that we use mix mode, means you can use SQL account as well as window account. And here is the SA account, a sysadmin or system admin, we can say that SQL Server system admin. This is the uh, principal account for the SQL Server, we can say that. So we have to just pass here the username, and uh, here we have to add a current user or different user instead of you want to disable this account after installation. The best practice is that after installation, every DBA disable this SA account, create different account as a sysadmin. Okay, or the guy who are installing this setup. Okay, so first we will add this current user as a system admin, specific system admin. Okay, so this is also a system admin, and here we can say that the password. So we have to just keep password. Okay. So this is about this authentication uh, type or SQL Server authentication type or authentication mode. We can say that. I think password is wrong. No, it's good. Okay. And this is for directory. What happened? Password is mismatch. Okay. So this is about authentication we have done. Any question on authentication mode? If not, then we're going forward for data directory. So here is the main thing. We will do our best practices. Okay. Root directory, we have to keep C drive, but leave it. Okay. System database directory. Okay. So system database means master DB, MSDB, model DB, or team DB, where you have to keep. User database directory, where you have to keep database, user database directory, data files and log files, and the backup directory. So the best practice is that we will keep backup drive in R drive, user log file in L drive, user data file in D drive, and system DB directory in S drive, because it is a standard for understanding the which database keeping in which mount point, or we can say directory. Okay, so that is helpful to understand all these things in the time of our performance tuning or troubleshooting where we have keeping the data. So this is only a C drive we have, so we can just keeping on C drive. We have to just modify this from here, or we can just map from here where we are going to keep that these user databases. So please do not keep anything in C drive. You have to just keep in D drive, L drive, T drive, or R drive. We can map like that. Okay. Next is about TempDB. Previously, we don't have a TempDB features to tune here. Okay, everything is we are going to sorting and calculating using any function that will go on the TempDB basically. So TempDB, that is depend on the number of cores it create of files. Basically, this is the 4 cores of 4 file of TempDB created. Size of 8 MB initializing. Okay, the initial file is size is 8 MB for the 4 files. So this will require totally 32 MB of space on the disk. This is totally empty because we are not doing any calculation right now. This is the installation part. So 32 MB is totally empty space occupied by SQL Server operating system. Okay, from the OS side. So this is the best practices. Previously, we do the server hardening after installation, but it is attached here. At the time of installation, we can do that. Okay. Next is the part of performance tuning MDOP. That is max degree of parallelism. We are using any nested queries and waiting for the another one. So we can allocate here. It is dedicating for CPU, but the best practice is that we can allocate max 50% of CPU. Means if we have 8, we can allocate 4 max, or the best practice is only keep, we have to just one is best. Okay, as for Microsoft, as for expert, or we can say that as a being a DBA, we can see in the our experience, we can keep only one, because we cannot allocate or we cannot cap all the CPU for that multiple, okay, nested queries. Okay, we can say this in simple way. Okay.
So
Next
can
is
we say that, let's say we have a server with 16 CPU.
Mhm.
So in that case, it is recommended to keep it as 8 CPU, 50% or 1.
Max we can 50% allocate, but the best practice is one, because the in OLTP we are not using any more than 2 or 3 transaction at a time as a nested. We can say that we can say what I can say that waiting for other transaction. Okay, that is we are not fetching report on regular basis, basically on every half an hour interval, or we can say that on daily basis. So that is the basic depend on that your application. Basically, we can say that simple.
And this
If
can
you're
be
using,
modified later.
yes, yeah, we can
And
do.
does this require a restart
No,
of
no, only
instance?
memory, only memory and database engine.
Okay, fine.
So this is not required. Basically, this is we can say next part is memory hardening here, or fine tuning. So see, the max SQL Server support 2 TB. Okay, so we have here 6 GB, I think. Yeah. So basically, it will not recommend you here. Just we have to do that. This is the OLTP transaction, and this is a dedicated server. See, two things. If we have a shared server or dedicated server, so that is depend on that. We can allocate a memory. So if this is a dedicated server, we can allocate max 70% of total RAM. Means if we have a 6 GB, we can allocate not more than 4 GB, because rest of 25 GB memory used by the other services like Windows services, other browser services, we can say that, or other antivirus services on the server. So that will use that one. So we can, the best practice is that we can allocate max and max 70% of total memory to the SQL server. So here it is 6 GB. We can go with, uh, currently I'm keeping it 2048, 2 GB only. Okay, I can show you via command. We can upgrade, modify that amount. Okay, we can allocate more than that with the command. Okay,
So Salesh,
and
this
mhm.
memory you are giving, let's just out of 6, you are saying 4 GB. This is at the instance level. If I have
Ye-
5 databases, all these are sharing this 4 GB memory,
yes,
or we can give at the DB level separate
no,
memory.
in SQL Server, no, in SQL Server buffer manager, that is managing all the memory in the SQL Server, that will assign memory as per your transaction. If you are going to fetch a report, so SQL Server browser services assign as per your data retrieval from a databases that required 1 MB or 1 GB. So let's say an example, if you're fetching some huge data and SQL Server buffer manager allocate you about 1 GB of memory to a single transaction, so rest 1 GB used for other transactions. So more than that, you
So
can get a memory timeout.
it's a shared memory basically for all the
Yeah,
databases for the
yeah,
instance.
shared memory, we can
And
say.
how about this max degree of parallelism? If you are saying set it 1, is that applicable to all the DBs under the instance, or is it we can set it
Yes,
separate
no,
degree also on the DB level?
yeah, you can do, but it will override the server level. So in new features, we are getting MDOP on the DB level too. So we can modify from there also. If you want to be not using shared MDOP, we can allocate from there. So we can see that
So
one. How can we modify that one?
so
Okay.
if it is not applied at the DB level, it will take by default which is at the instance. But
Server level. Yes, yes,
if
yes.
I have
Right.
given on the DB, so that will take the priority.
Yes, priority. Yes, because this is specified for the that database only. So this is
But
for
if we
main
talk
memory.
about but if we talk
Mhm.
about memory, it is only at instance level, huh?
Yeah, this is instance memory. Yeah,
Memory, there is
not
no
on
option in
in.
saying, yeah,
Yes, in
on the DB
SQL
level.
Server, there is no option for database level memory allocation. Only SQL Server buffer manager can look into your transaction, what you are going to do on the server side. According to your transaction, it will assign you some memory. Minimum you have required 64 KB. The minimum memory for any transaction in SQL 64 KB is allocated. 64 or plus 3, 69. Sorry, 67 now. Okay.
Okay.
So sorry, this is a sorry, this is a mean memory or this is a max memory. Sorry. So mean memory, this is for starting for the server. If we are using any in memory tables, let's an example, we have a in memory table of 500 MB. Okay. So we cannot allocate mean memory 500 MB. We will just allocate more than that because the table need to be loaded in the memory at the time of a startup for the system. So let's an example, we have a one temporary in memory table. So we are assigning here, let's see 1024, 1 GB of memory. That's minimum memory and the max is 4096 means 4 GB. Okay. So more than not more than that SQL Server use means one max 4 GB SQL Server can use from the out of that is 6 GB or 7 GB whatever the server. Okay. So if we are going to if we are in performance tuning, if you are getting any error or we can say that in memory timeout, then we need to think about that memory part. Or we can get that one is that is page life expectancy in the SQL Server is a matrix, or we can say that stats in the SQL Server for performance monitoring, it is lower than 300 second, then you have to think about the memory basically. This server is running in low memory basically. So this is a part of performance tuning. You can see that stats also. Next is file streaming. So we are not using any file stream. That is for different features basically. So we are not going to inside that, not going to allow this one here. We can change from the services side, the backend after installation we can, if required. So this is the main server level configuration we are doing at the time of installation. We can do after installation too. Okay, if you can change all these things and we can change after that installation via command via GUI side. Okay. And whatever we have selected, na, see, this is a snap, we can say our system is ready for that install all these features. So we can see one by one what we have selected. This is evaluation version. Okay. And this is PowerShell taken features, database engine, replication, client connectivity tool, integration services. Instance name is here. Instance ID is that. And next is agent running database engine. This account manual type. This is automatically. And TempDB settings is here. And this is memory part and mdop. Okay, set one. This is a collection name. And this is the shared features. Okay.
So,
So these
Sunil,
all
before, if I have I got one Windows machine. I don't know what
mm-hmm,
all is installed at the OS level by Windows team, right?
mm-hmm,
I need to install a SQL Server Standard Edition. I don't know what are the prerequisites. So what are
mm-hmm.
the minimum things which I should check at before starting the SQL Server installation, that these are the the required things, otherwise SQL will not work, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
anything at the OS level. So
So,
do you have
yeah,
that?
basically .NET 3.5, the minimum required. .NET
Yeah,
3.5. Let me show you
I
that
mean
set.
that that is
I have a
based on the
document.
SQL Server version, or is it the by default?
No, by default, any SQL Server installation you can require that app wizard. Mhm. Oh, wrong spelling. Mhm. Mhm. So here we can say that the features and all. This is about that role. Okay, we are not going for installing IS and all DSCP. We can see here. .NET 4.7 is latest already installed because nowadays see here .NET 3 point minimum. So after that SQL Server get a restart and take latest one. So nowadays we are not bothering about this .NET 3 because a system Windows Microsoft is pushing all the updates on every month, first week of every month, the latest update. So that is updated
Mhm.
automatically. See. So basically, see, latest one, the oldest one, .NET 3.5, the oldest one. Okay, the minimum that is 3.5. After two, we can get 4.7, 4.8, whatever the release is. Okay, nothing required. Okay, so
Okay.
this is a basic requirement for SQL Server. Da, da, da. Okay, now minimize this one. So system is ready for installation here. Okay, so these are the features we are going to install. Okay. So you can see that the INF file is here, the boot start setting location. Okay.
One more
And
thing.
mhm,
You mentioned about that automatic updates, right? Which Microsoft
mhm,
push. So
mhm.
OST might have that auto enable every first week of the month.
Yeah,
It
that
is
there's a
pushing.
W source we can say new terminology. W source we can say that
Mm,
W server configured by a AD team, I think so, or
yeah.
data center,
Uh,
any admin guy. Okay, so that
mm,
will sit there on the domain side. Okay, one system is
mm,
server that will checking all the updates from the client side, client we can
mm,
say client instances, and
mm,
they're pushing all any few interval 20 days or 30 days after interval, it's pushing all this installation updates parts in background. It is getting downloaded and installed, but you can get and pop up for the restart. You can restart as per your convenient basically.
No, that I got it. I mean, when they have the updates,
Mhm.
so for a SQL server, do we it is recommended to enable that auto updates, or is it not required like you said, no? Which earlier in the
No,
screen we have got an option.
not required basically. As being a DBA, we can
Oh,
say that we do not require to update SQL Server instance very frequently, because we can see that some different updates come in the SQL Server and it is crashing all the settings basically. Just like last couple of days, I'm getting a call from a data center. One update coming comes and it will change all the settings of reporting services basically. TSN or TLS. Oh yeah, TLS update. So that will change all the settings, previous settings. So we have to just roll back all the settings and then we have to start the reporting services. So before pushing any updates on the database server, Windows team need to connect with the DBA and ask these are the updates coming from this Microsoft. It is really required to install or not. So we have to decide that this is relevant to database or not. If this is
So
relevant to
yeah, as a standard practice,
Mhm.
we should not enable auto updates, but
Yes,
as per a maintenance activity, we should update that. Is it
yes,
like that? Okay.
yeah. Basically, for the Windows side, not from the SQL side. Windows update is by default is getting and updated, but the when we get a SQL Server update, we just need to test on the QA or development environment, and then you can update on that production environment basically.
You mean that Windows auto update is fine?
Yes, that is fine.
Okay.
But related to SQL Server, we cannot update automatically. We have to just test that patches or hot fixes or updates coming from the Microsoft, test on development environment, everything goes fine. Then we can allow WSUS team, or we have to just do it manual our end, DBA end basically. Because I was tell about the scenario na, that last to last week we get multiple reporting services issues. Okay, so in registry, all the TLS settings changed. So we just roll back all these settings one by one. So the best practice is that we just wait for that SQL Server updates for testing. After testing, we can implement on production server. Before that, we cannot allow anyone to update any SQL or any database related patch or updates installed on this database server. That need to be avoided basically. Okay, next is now system is ready for installation. So this is a installation tab. Sorry, button. We have just click here and installation get started. It will take 20 minutes max, basically, or less than that. So it will checking all the settings and installing here. Okay. So let's pause for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Okay, and I will show you the details about that, the services. Mhm, mhm.
Okay, I'll be back in 2-3 minutes. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, thank you. So let's just start from next step. A successfully installed SQL Server here. So you can see in the window.
Gopal, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. So see, we have installed database engine, replications, or browser services, SQL Server Writer, back client connectivity to integration services. So all are successfully installed. Okay. Now we have installed SQL Server, but we cannot connect from GUI side. So we need a database management studio here. Okay, so we have to just already downloaded here. Just right click and installed. Okay, I think it will ask for a start. But let's see. Okay, so see here is saying that Microsoft Management Studio with Azure Data Studio. Previously, Data Studio is different one. Sorry, Azure Data Studio is different one for connecting Azure databases. But now we can connect with that same tool basically. Okay, this is a connectivity tool, client tool. We can say that. So let's see about the services. So here is the services, whatever we see. See, SQL services, agent services, integration, reporting, and analysis services, and browse services. So we can see here whatever we selected, na, that we get from here. Services. So now from here, services dot msc. So there are two way to see that one also, or you can see from the this services part, or another one is database server configuration manager. See this one, database SQL server configuration manager. So I can show you all here. See all the services installed here, which you have selected at the time of installation. Is a process ID, and in this way we can see here that SQL server. Okay, SQL server running automatically, and service account is default account. Okay, browser services, agent services. So basically we focus on these two services because this is a standalone server. Okay, and one more thing, from task manager we can also see the services. We can filter or we can check. See, this is agent services, browser services, and SQL services. I think, let me sort that. Where is that one? We can search that or we can see. Okay,
It should be
or
Microsoft, है ना? Microsoft SQL Server.
maybe some different service name. We cannot see from here. Basically we can check by default from server SQL server configuration manager, but I want to show you here. You can see MSI server installation is a different one. Okay, I think that is running, that's why it is showing. Okay,
No, it is just below that MS SQL Server.
where?
So if you can let go up, up. No, where is
It
I'm
is
starting
M.
with M.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, see
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same name we can get that what we have installed na, we can get the same name, SQL server. Okay, so this is the services from here. This is a configuration. By default DBA use this one. Okay, Windows team using this one, the server team. Go and stop and start from here, but the best practices we go from the here. Okay, we can see all these things here. Okay, so we have a server services, agent services. Okay, browser services, and integration services. We have not installed reporting services and analysis services, SAS. Okay, this is done. Okay, let's open this management studio. Tool here. Okay, so I'm just canceling here because if you know this is a client tool. Okay, so whatever you server name provide, you can connect. But if you are on same server and you have to check that the right server name, just cancel, not cancel that. You can just click here, go for the browse and check the database engine, the exact name. Sometimes data center will do copy paste. Okay, so host name is always same, so it will impact, or you can get an error while connectivity connecting from the different location. Okay, so we just check the correct name here. Okay, this is a uh, database right engine name. Okay, and see, I've already told you that we can connect via uh, SQL account as well as we can say that Windows account. So this is a window authentication. The user which have access on this server can connect by default to the SQL server. Okay, and the SQL account, if we created any SQL account, then we can connect using the SQL account. So I can show you that with the SQL account. Okay, this is a SQL account. Now we are going with the connect with that. This is a window account. If we are connecting from that, if we are connecting Azure server. Okay, so these are the three authentication we get from the Azure servers. This is MFA, multi-factor authentication, or directory, or with integration. Okay, so these three fall only for Azure database server connectivity from that this client tool. This is SSMS. Okay, for name dot we can say that in premise, or we can say that uh, except that Azure, we can connect these two authentication mode, that is Windows and SQL Server authentication mode only. So here we can see the server properties first from GUI side. So this is a server detail, the general detail. We can say Windows name, SQL Server, see here, product name, operating system, platform, Linux or OS, Windows, whatever we have. So this is Windows. Version name, language, total memory, processor, root directory, collection name, server level collection. This is, we cannot modify this one. Okay, is cluster means clustering click if you enable HADR, if we can enable that one. Okay, so we have, this is a standalone server, so all this is grayed out. Okay, this is a memory part, whatever set here we can modify from here. This is a GUI part, we can see also a command line. This is a processor. Next is security part. So server level authentication, we have choose that server and window both. So this is a mixed mode. This is a window authentication. Auditing part, that is we are checking for only fail logging here. We can keep both successful, but we have too many log files. So we can keep only for logging failure, for tracking that anyone not trying to connect from a different network or different zone. Next is connections. So this is unlimited connection, that is zero. We can restrict number of connections from here. Okay, remote time of connection, that is 15, we can say that 10 minute. This is in second, oh yeah, this is a 10 minute. We can keep it at 15 minute, basically remote timeout, query timeout, for reporting purpose, but by default it is 600 second. Okay, database settings, it is a database fill factor, index fill factor, how we are filling that pages. So we can check in that performance tuning part in deep. Recovery interval 0 means that is checkpoint fire at very frequently here. Okay, we can check change as for our requirement. We can keep at 1 minute or 2 minutes, but it is fire within a minute basically for the recovery type. Okay, database directory here, default directory where you're keeping data files. That is log files, and this is a backup directory. Okay, so this is a configured value, means this is enabled. Okay, we can change that after that is required restart, not required, that is automatically committed to the databases. Backup comparison, we can use that one, but we can check from the GUI side. I can show you how can we change that from the command line. Okay, this is advanced level setting on the servers. Whatever we can enable here, it is by default implemented on entire databases on the server. So this is cost threshold 5 second by default. Locking 0, max duration we have enabled 1. Okay, query weight That doesn't minus mean to not wait for query, and this is going to read a data, write a data, okay, without if there's no lock. And for ad hoc query load, this is false. We can enable if we are using any ad hoc queries. Okay, yeah, this is on the server level side, nothing else. Okay, there is a permissions. So in permissions, we can see that the security type, if anyone wants to check the server monitoring, or we can server stats, we can have to give permission view any definitions. So this is depend, this is security part. We cannot blindly provide permission to anyone end user. Okay, that is totally based on their requirement. We can provide on server. Basically DBA has full rights on the server, but the end user can use their schema, or we can say that they are databases, so we can provide their permission to on data, not on server level. But this is a special cases for monitoring tool, or any DBA manager can ask, then we can provide some view definition only through taking that server stats and all. uh,
So you
just
will, we will see that in detail, in user security.
Yeah, with that
Uh,
different topic, we can check an error and all these things. How can we provide, what is the permissions? There is a server level roles, there's a database level roles, so we can check all these things. See,
so we
if you
will check
when we
that in detail,
yes,
later.
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
fine.
later, yeah, basically. Okay, so this is a
Can
server
we
level.
segregate which all parameters, instance parameters, require an instance restart and which all do not? Is there a way to find that, or we just
Yeah,
need to Google that?
no, 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 yeah, there's a way. I go on that point. Basically, I can show you just for a while, where basically this we have a procedure sp underscore config. Okay, so there's a procedure, we can get that all the parameters here, or system settings. So this is 25 showing, this is more than 76, I think. So to just enable that one, this is already disable because it's the first installation. I can show how can you tune the server. Na? In that we can check all these things. Okay, it's a different.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, just I'm showing for this time only. So
fine.
see, there's all the parameters here. More than 83. Previously 76, but it's 83. See here. Okay, so these are all the parameters. Okay, minimum value, max value, configure value, run value. Okay, so if you configure that where required, now we have to just we can see that this is 0. Okay, after restart it will go with the 1. So this is the memory part. Let's see, so you call that is uh, this is your database mail configuration, fill factor, memory part. Memory is here, mean memory, sorry, max memory and mean memory. So this is required your restart, but it is implemented because we have just done in part of installation, so it is getting restarted at that point of time. Okay,
So
if you
how
do it
can we
from here.
identify whether it requires a restart or not?
Yeah, we can I can show you the different command. Basically they are the description here. Okay, so that is, I think, sys.sys config file. Select in that we can get a description here. There's a one column here. Okay, in that we can get all this detail. Select start from this dot conf. Yeah, sys dot configuration. So we have to just read all this data basically. See,
Okay, dynamic is there.
oh,
Fine,
yeah,
got it.
dynamic. See, yeah. Okay, so this is the system view, basically table. We can check, we cannot modify from here, we can modify from this procedure only. Okay, we'll just call this parameters and all. Just there's the id, the name, the value, min max, value in use, whatever we configured. Okay, this is a description about that stats, or we can say the name, and this is dynamic. Okay, so more
Okay,
than 83, yeah, about 83. So we can see basically the best practice. So we have to just see, if you go for this database, see, it will ask. Okay, it's asking. So if you enable that one, it will change here in the backend first, and then it will go with the start. Or if you check here that database mail from here, that is disable. Database mail. No, sorry. See here. So if we are going to configure this, it will first ask to enable. See, so it will ask for restart. If we configure here, it will not going to implement all the mail. Okay, it will ask restart and then shooting the email from that database mail. So we
Okay.
will enable that in the hardening part, SQL Server fine tuning on the hardening part. We can check that on all step by step. Okay. And now it is done the installation part. Next is our services. So see here services. Next is protocols. Okay. I think we have a protocol in the tab. Oh, check that on content. So testing we have done, enabling digital features and service and protocols. So service and protocols is here. Mhm.
Acha, for documentation, which guide is good to refer?
For SQL Server, there is a SQL Server 2008 internals. Okay, that is the best
Hmm.
book for DBA basically. But Microsoft release every version have their different book, but that is the best one. SQL Server internals. You can search on the Google. You can
Can
get
you
that
just
one.
ping that URL?
I think I
Or
have
is
to
it a
search.
book to download?
Yeah, I think 200 and more than 200.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
we can
ping
say that
the book name, we'll
SQL
search that.
Server internal.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
this is the name. This is the best book basically for the DBA.
Okay, we'll search for
So
that. If not, then tomorrow
yeah,
I'll ask you.
yeah. I think I have to check in my sandbox basically. This is very
Okay,
old book basically. Yeah.
okay, fine.
So here's the protocols. Okay, so we have a three protocol previously to four. Okay, that is now it is three. In 2005 I think, yeah, four. Okay, but after 2016, yeah, this is three only. So shared memory for the shared services on the same, we can say that name pipeline. For that we have installed we have connecting that database also with the name, or TCP IP, the global, we can use IP addresses or hostname both, we
Can
can
you
connect.
explain this named pipe little more?
Name pipe means that is if you are using any HADR, okay, are you using name host name basically. See here we have a IP address, okay, and we have a host name. So this is a host name, okay. So host name cannot be changed basically. Sometimes IP address conflict in network and we not able to connect with the server, or showing that system is not in network. So if you are connecting intra-network or any data center, you can use host name, that is for HADR part. In log shipping replication, we cannot pass IP addresses. Okay, we can pass that host name, and that will connect and never disconnect basically without any host name change. No one can going to change the host name basically. Okay, so that will not impacting our performance, and we can say that not impacting our HADR configuration and settings.
So
So
which
that will
protocol does it use? Is it using IPC protocol?
IPC, no, TCP IP is for a
No,
name
named
pipeline.
pipes.
I no, in SQL, so this is name pipeline basically name, but IPC, I
Okay,
am
leave
not sure
IPC.
about that. Yeah,
Uh.
yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah. So basically, from DB perspective in production, uh, if we are using in any normal data center, name pipeline is fine. Okay, but you are using multi data center geo replication, or is not trusted basically. Okay, and we can say that means different data center you are replicating data, so you can use TCP IP basically, because it will help you to track that IP or search the IP. Sometimes host name is blocked. So host name basically for, we can say that name pipeline in entire intra network or entire network in your domain we can use. If you have multiple domain like subdomains and all, or other companies tie up, and you are trying to connect with Jobong and Flipkart, so that time name pipeline not best practices. Okay, we have to use that TCP IP mainly, because this VLAN is different, and you can use that to connect.
If you are connecting from on-premise to Azure, then which protocol will you use?
In Azure, you have TCP IP basically. Okay, Azure is not in your domain, or you can use TCP IP. So
Like
because the browser can allow.
application is
Yeah.
in on-premise, they connect to the SQL Server, and SQL Server database is in Azure.
Okay.
So in their end, it is data is flowing through TCP IP.
In Azure, there is a setting for security, so you can use both. You can connect with that in Azure instance. You can use named instance, sorry, name pipeline. But basically, we not enable. Basically, TCP IP is good, but you can in TCP IP you can use both named instance, you can connect via name or IP address both. Means you can say that if you are have a URL for Azure database, okay, so you can use URL and connect with the SSMS, but you have to enable TCP IP only by default. Not name. It is only for HADR only. You can say simple. You can know that in HADR you're configuring local to local, na? Or in same domain. That is good. Best practice basically. Means there is no security violence and all. In simple term, we can say that.
Okay.
But the best practice is TCP IP is good because in TCP IP you can use host name and IP addresses. Sometimes we do not know the host name. We not remember the host name. IP address is easy for remembering. This is a VLAN. This is the last IP address of this database server. So you can connect that one. This is the way of connectivity basically. Now going to enter that in TCP IP, their setting. So SQL Server run on by default port is 1433. Okay, this is a default port. TCP IP default for a SQL Server. Okay, if you go for dynamic, no, sorry, named instance, we get here different protocol. Sorry, different port basically. So the best practice is that we should never run this server on default port basically. In Oracle, there's a 153.31 I think said, yeah, 1531 I think, or HANA there's different one. So just we have to just modify this port before going to the production. This is not a best practice running on default port of the SQL Server. So if you modify that, that's a default. We can modify that one. We can we can check that 3434. 4434. Okay, but it is required restart. Okay, and then we can telnet this port to connect from different network and all. So this is about that protocol. This is
And
about the
what
services.
about TCPS protocol if we want to configure secure protocol?
So here is this is a secure. You have to just set change on firewall. There's no TCPS basically.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a default only. So we have only two port. Okay, so this is we can change from here only. Okay, there's nothing about to change here. Only we change that one, or you can use on dynamic port. We can delete that, or you can use dynamic port, different dynamic port, not on TCP port. That you can decide that one. And alias we can configure if you want to configure the alias of the sys server. Okay, if required, but mainly we not use that alias name for the server. And these are the services. So all services come here. Okay, and we can restart or modify or we can assign. So for HADR, the best practice is that our SQL Server and agent server should run in a same by the same username. Basically, that user has permission to read write in network, nothing else, not more than that. Because we have to just read data or write data on network or local drive. Sometimes it will ask by the intro what permission required for the SQL Server account. Okay, nothing, not yeah. There's two things only: the service account and this a protocol. And yeah, enable and disable and features. So we have shown in that graphical part, and we can also use that command line. So enable features. So we have to enable that database mail. Okay. So for the command line, we have to remember that one. Okay. This procedure sp configure. So anything you are going to change on server level, any features you have to enable, just we have to use that sp configure and then pass the name, and the 0 means disable, 1 means enable, and then we have to just reconfigure that. Reconfigure, override, we can say that. Okay. So now basic thing is that we have to enable database mail, agent services. Okay. Yeah. Replication not required. So we can go with the database mail first. So database mail is just only for sending an email from the SQL server like alerts or any report automation. So that will use. Okay. We have to just configure this database mail using our SMTP server and account we need, that is email address, SMTP server, and user and password we can see in the configuration part. And next we have to enable database engine. Sorry, not engine. We have to enable agent, SQL server agents. Where is that? Oh, agent services. I think, yeah. Or just we can double click here, or we can do from here also. Just let's see. We can see that is after that the run value is 1 here. Okay, let's me refresh that one. Uh, See, so we can do from GUI side or command line also. So now database engine also done. Sorry, database mail. See, the run value is 1. So we have enabled that. Fill factor is filling the pages. So this is part of performance tuning. So how we are going to fill, how much we are going to fill the data pages, we have to allocate here 90%, 100%. So that is depend on if we are doing 60% read or 40% write, then we have to change this one. If we are using 90% read or 10% write, so not required here basically from the DB side, as per my experience. Okay. Now from a configuration part, we have checked all these things. By default enable. Okay. Remote logging timeout 10 second. That is best practices. Okay. After 10 second, user can get an error. Okay. So this is we have done from I think first day. I think so. Anything missing? Test connectivity done. Yeah. I think we completed first day. Any question? Then you can discuss.
So for
Hello, Mono.
practice, can you get the passwords? Or
Yeah. So you do the practice online or offline?